The latest Star Citizen roadmap just dropped and something big is brewing in the verse. This week's Star Citizen Reverse Report breaks it all down. New missions, Squadron 42 coming to consoles, global event teases, surprise engine tech updates, and the cleanest look we've had behind the curtains in months. 4.1.1 has been live now for 2 weeks, and believe it or not, this might be the best patch Star Citizen's ever had. Stability during Invictus launch week in a free fly? Unheard of. For once, the servers aren't melting, the elevators mostly work, and you get through a full mission without the quantum drive exploding out of spite. CIG kept this patch on PTU longer than usual, and it shows. Everything just feels tighter. It's like somebody turned down the chaos dial a few notches, and honestly, it's kinda nice. You can feel the extra bake time here. Just how stable is it? The TTO org hosted a 300+ player gathering on New Babbage to stress test things the old-fashioned way, with feet on the ground, ships in the air, and a bar full of strangers bumping into each other. These screenshots, courtesy of Space Scumbag on Reddit, show a packed crowd that surprisingly didn't nuke the server. Frame rates dipped into the 17 to 30 range in dense interiors like Wally's Bar, and hovered between 30 and 60 elsewhere. There were no lag spikes or 30Ks. Of course, no party in the verse is complete without uninvited guests. Members of GrieferNet showed up, hoping to cause chaos, but by most accounts they only managed to make the final obstacle race a little more spicy. The disruption was mild, didn't derail anything, and in the end just gave runners an impromptu hard mode. If you've been avoiding playing because of the free fly, I don't blame you, but you're missing out on some new content. There's some excellent new missions tucked in here, like Gilly's Combat Mission Series and the Hunt to Polaris server event. I played through a chunk of Gilly's Chain. It's varied, challenging, and honestly some of the most fun I've had in a while. There's real escalation in difficulty, which is something Star Citizen's mission design often struggles with. Gilly's arc feels like CIG finally learned that challenge doesn't mean more enemies. Of course, it wouldn't be a Star Citizen patch without a few stray bugs. There's a particularly nasty cargo grid offset issue that's driving haulers crazy, but overall, I'd still rate this patch as extremely playable. Even the jank feels familiar at this point, like an old friend who casually slams you into the planet at full speed. Shout out to Master Blaster, we had an absolute blast on the last stream, planet slamming notwithstanding. But what about 4.2? That new roadmap column is teeming with features. We've got radiation zones, move over hypothermia, now you'll need a rad suit or you're toast. There's an entire ASD research and development center on Pyro opening up. Dynamic rain is starting to roll in, alongside the Genesis weather tech updates. Wet terrain, reduced visibility, maybe even mudslides down the line, who knows. But it's a big signal, planets are about to get a lot more hostile and a lot more immersive. New creatures are coming, and a fresh Argo Atlas ICT combat suit is rolling onto the scene. I'm not sure about the name, I'm gonna go with ICT as the pronunciation until I see something else. And there's the big one, a global cross-shard event planned for 4.2.x, built on cooperation and competition. Could be epic, fingers crossed. In short, they're adding sandboxes inside of sandboxes. The next few patches might not just expand the verse, they could make it meaningfully alive. More places to go, more reasons to go there, more danger once you do. If you want the spicy unreleased stuff with leaked Evocati NDA'd footage, I did a video on the 4.2 leaks, which includes some data mine features, link in the card above. But here on the Verse Report, we're sticking to confirmed content, dev tracker, roadmap, and inside Star Citizen only. As for that global event, Spectrum's already buzzing. Some players were worried it was going to be another PvP-centric free-for-all, which understandably makes the PvE crowd nervous. Nico CIG claimed in with a promising reply, competition doesn't always mean PvP. While I can't share the details yet about that upcoming global event, I'm confident it'll resonate well. It's built around a mix of cooperation and competition, shaped by the feedback we received from previous events. So yeah, this time it sounds like everyone's going to get to play a role, not just the folks who fly with crime stats on purpose. I'm watching this one closely. If CIG pulls this off, we might be looking at a real evolution of dynamic events in the verse, not just another glorified Jumptown event. Now let's talk tech. This week the big buzz is Vulkan. Not Spock's home planet, but the graphical API that one day make your frame rate feel less like a slideshow on lower end systems. Ali Brown, CIG's director of graphics and procedural tech, dropped by Spectrum full of answers and surprisingly jokes. When asked about Vulkan's rollout, he quipped, "Simply whisper my name thrice into an overclocked GPU fan and I shall appear." The man's got panchet. But beneath the meme was substance. He's added that he's been very busy, as our latest stuff hasn't hit SC yet, so he hasn't been posting, which sounds like dev code for we're working, we're sweating, and it's coming. He confirmed that Squadron 42 is already running Vulkan by default. That part of the pipeline has been live and stable enough that they're now shifting focus towards an overdue optimization pass for this persistent universe. His exact words, Squadron 42 has been using Vulkan by default, and it's been going well, but has uncovered various stability issues that have been fixed. Our focus has been on polishing major graphical features required for both projects. We're about to move into a large and long overdue optimization push. Translation: the Vulkan work is real, and it's moving. Slowly, but moving. Notably, CIG has already confirmed they're ditching DirectX in the long run. Vulkan's the future, and once it's fully integrated, expect that to unlock better GPU support, performance tuning, and frame generation down the line. Speaking of which, when asked about DLSS 4, Brown said, "It's implemented on our internal main branch of Star Citizen, but this branch hasn't been tested yet, so I can't say which patch it'll make it into." He clarified that he's specifically talking about DLSS 4 upscaling. No native frame gen yet. And FSR, still on hold. As he put it, it's more dev time to support FSR 3 on D3D at the same time as FSR 4 on Vulkan, but I could be wrong there. This is a pretty big drop. Once Star Citizen goes Vulkan only, support features like DLSS frame gen and FSR 4 become way more feasible, without splitting dev time across 2 rendering pipelines. For players on mid-tier hardware, that's going to be a major win. What about the long-requested benchmark mode? Ali's take was a refreshingly honest, yes, he'd love it, no, it's not simple. He explained that it would probably need a bespoke level setup for this purpose, so we'd need at least an environmental artist and a cinematic artist for at least 2 to 3 weeks, plus game code support for a week or more to add it to the options menu, trigger it, and display relevant statistics. He added that most internal benchmark talks lead towards more broader performance scaling, not just graphics. Still, he'd suggest a benchmark mode because frankly his team would love that data too. He also notes that even simpler requests can snowball from a few days to a few months. No promises, but it's on the radar. It's rare to get this much direct technical info outside of a CitizenCon or Star Citizen Live, and hearing it from one of the top engineers, that's awesome. Vulkan's not just hype, it's happening, and soon the performance ceiling might stop being whatever your PC can tolerate today. Let's bring it back down to the macro view, the roadmap. The May 21st update wasn't just a batch of cards getting shuffled, it was another signal that CIG is trying to be more transparent on how they prioritize, plan, and communicate. For starters, they've added a new progress tracker tab. It's subtle, but an important reminder that complete on a deliverable doesn't mean it's shipping tomorrow. That item may still be sitting in the proverbial hangar, waiting on dependencies from other teams, back-end integrations, or a final QA pass. So if you see something marked as done, but it's not live yet, don't panic, it's just circling the runway. And now CIG's actually explaining those movements. The community team is writing up the logic between every shuffle and delay. So when a card quietly slips from 4.1 to 4.2, like that new global event, it comes with a brief on why. In this case, polish. One of the big community flashpoints this week was the limited haul sales, especially the Idris. These drops sell out in seconds, and it's created a yearly frustration cycle that feels more like a raffle than a rule-out. Xylo CIG addressed it directly, saying, "We're actively discussing a lot of different options. We've grown considerably and would like to look into alternate ways to rule these out in the future. There have been improvements made alongside additional tracking to allow the back-end team to more closely monitor. Set expectations, the quantity of pilots who want to pick up an Idris greatly exceeds the amount available. Picking up a limited ship can be a frustrating experience. We're actively talking through different options, but that will take some time." It's not a fix, but it's more acknowledgement than we're used to. And the extra wave CIG added to the Idris sale this year? Not a bad pressure release valve. Even if you didn't win the Idris lottery, at least there were more tickets to try. We also saw a quick fix in action this week. After reports of a potential shield exploit related to nav mode, XLB CIG stepped in, tested the scenario, and confirms that it seems to be working as intended in 4.2.0. No drama, just action. Filed, fixed, flagged for PTU. And that's the kind of feedback loop that keeps a game like this viable in the long run. Bugs happen, but when devs jump in, test, and reply in plain language, that builds trust. And in Star Citizen, trust might be the most valuable currency of all. And finally, 2 new job postings from CIG might confirm what many of us have quietly suspected. Squadron 42 could be making its way to next-gen consoles. Cinematics animator roles in both Frankfurt and Manchester specifically ask for professional experience in game animation development, ideally on next-gen consoles. I've long suspected this was on the table, and if CIG can pull it off, it's a clear win. Console platforms would massively expand the reach of Squadron 42. The most recent industry breakdowns show consoles spending outpaces PC about 57 to 43%. That surprised me. I thought that PC would be much lower, but it highlights how much growth potential is on the table. If Star Citizen is going to change the narrative, getting Squadron 42 into more hands on more platforms is the right move. And that's it for this week's Star Citizen Verse Report. Check out my 4.2 leaks video for deeper dives and data mine chaos. Until next time, stay frosty, Keep your quantum drive spooled, and I'll see you in the verse.